Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to our continuing Tech Talk series. My name is Paul Kinnanmuth with Technology Evaluation Centres, and we're here today to continue the discussion about the current challenges and opportunities that manufacturers are facing and how the right technology can optimise operations. So over the last couple of weeks, we've really opened up the discussion as to the current state of manufacturing and how new or modern ERP has adjusted to create transparency and opportunity in operations. And we're back today to pivot just a little bit and unpack the opportunities that exist via the cloud and cloud ERP. So I'm joined today by a tremendous team from Oracle NetSuite, as well as one of their customers, to paint a very vivid picture as to how Oracle NetSuite views the potential of ERP to optimize operations. So I'll introduce our speakers in just a moment. But first, a little bit about Technology Evaluations, or TEC. So we're an impartial evaluation and selection firm who has and continues to help our clients globally assess their current software application landscape and to evaluate and select best fit enterprise software across all domains and industries to ensure that they maintain their competitive advantage. And I've been working as a senior project manager and selection evangelist with tech for the past 13 years, and I've spent some significant time in the manufacturing sector myself. That's enough about me. Let's move on to our speakers. I'd like to introduce Paul Farrel, who is Oracle's NetSuite's VP of Product Industries and is ultimately responsible for the direction of NetSuite's cloud ERP solution. And Paul has over 25 years of experience in developing, selling, and implementing business solutions, working with small companies through to very, very large global enterprises. So welcome, Paul. Good to have you today.
Great. Thank you very much, Paul, for that introduction. I'm going to share a presentation and we'll get kicked off. So hopefully this our technology will work here. Okay, there we go. So hopefully that's a thumbs up. So yes, I am head of industry product management for Oracle NetSuite. I'm going to be joined today with Gavin Davidson, who's one of our directors of industry product management, and he's very much focused around product-based industries, manufacturers, distributors, and retailers. And Naomi, one of our customers who has a lot of experience implementing NetSuite, and will give a very nice a view from the customer side of the advantages of cloud ERP and how it helps manufacturers and supply chain businesses today. So after that quick introduction, I'm going to talk very briefly about who NetSuite is, so you get an understanding of our credentials in this particular space. We'll look at today's challenges for manufacturers and supply chain companies in general, which are numerous. And we'll look at how NetSuite helps customers meet those challenges, and some of that uniquely within the cloud. And then Gavin will talk to Naomi about her experience with NetSuite and the cloud and how it helps businesses operate and thrive. And I'll just summarize up, and then we'll open it for question and answers at the end. So just who is NetSuite? Well, there's a couple of key things about NetSuite that I'd like to talk about at this stage. NetSuite is one of the first cloud companies. As a matter of fact, we've only ever been a cloud company, and we started at the same time as Google. So we are right at the very beginning of cloud. But we've always been a company that is built solutions to help businesses run better. So our solution has always been in the cloud. It's the same solution we've been building on and evolving and revolutionizing over 20 years. And there's a whole number of things that the cloud means, and it's not just accessing the product via the internet. It's not just paying it on a subscription basis, the solution. But there's a whole lot of other philosophical things that the cloud means. And one of the things that I always like to talk about is the consumerization of the product. So cloud solutions, and definitely traditional cloud solutions that are out there, or people that have got a lot of experience in the cloud, the solutions are built in a way that users and customers can get to grips and can understand the functionality quickly and easily. They don't have to learn a whole brand new way of working with the application. It's not unique. It works like any other browser-based product. You can use all the facilities of the browser. You can access it anywhere, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days of the year, whether you're up in a plane or whether you're at home or whether you're in the office. You have the complete solution there. You never need to worry about where it is or someone who's feeding and managing it. It's just always there. So that philosophy runs throughout NetSuite, this sort of cloud first, cloud only type of philosophy. And it differentiates NetSuite to many of the other businesses that are out there that are trying to get into the cloud. And certainly today, and we'll talk a bit more about it, some of the challenges facing companies today with remote workers, etc., cloud is a natural solution to that, and that is very much in our DNA. We are a global business unit of Oracle, so we're sort of a company within a company. So NetSuite has its own complete management infrastructure within Oracle. So outside G&A, development, sales, marketing, services, everything is part of that NetSuite GBU. So we have this autonomy, but at the same time, we have the power of one of the largest, most successful technology companies in the world. A company that's building the latest and greatest database technology, cloud technology, infrastructure technology, helping us make our products better. Also, NetSuite is global. NetSuite's used in almost every country and territory around the world. So no matter where you want to do business, and again, this is a reflection of the cloud in our DNA, is that it doesn't matter where you want to operate your business or work with business partners, NetSuite is there and manage all the compliance and localizations and language needs that you require. The other thing about NetSuite, and I put in here record growth, NetSuite is still growing substantially. So it's one thing for us to go and say, we think we've got the best product in the world and it's going to solve all the problems that your business has, but it's definitely been reflected in our growth and how we're growing our customer base and our revenues around the world as people buy in and understand how NetSuite in the cloud is going to help run their businesses more effectively. And just a bit on scale, NetSuite has over 10,000 employees that are purely focused on NetSuite around the globe. We have over 23,000 customers running NetSuite. And one of the things to note about NetSuite is every one of our customers is on the same version, service pack, patch of the product. Everyone runs the same solution. So what's unique about NetSuite is every dollar that our customers put into the product, they're getting return on that because they get every new feature, every new function is available to them because they're always on the latest release of the application. And just to give you an idea of growth, we've added well over 5,000 customers to NetSuite just in the last 12 months. So that's a quick snapshot of who NetSuite is by the numbers and what it means. If I look at the industries that NetSuite covers, and you might think, well, what is this necessary? We just want to focus on manufacturing or distribution or whatever else. But I'm going to put this in perspective. Out of our 23,000 customers, we address the software industry, services companies, so project-based businesses, advertisers, media publishing. We have a big not-for-profit practice, and our heavy product-based industries, manufacturing, wholesale distribution, and retail. And why I think this is more relevant today than ever in differentiating NetSuite as a business is we can run any type of operation. And we've seen certainly within manufacturing companies over the last few years, a change in business models that are being rolled out. So traditionally, manufacturers would sell to distribution channels. They would so they would bill on a transactional basis. I'd make the product, I'd ship it, I'd recognize the revenue. But we've seen a lot of manufacturers moving into recurring revenue models. So where they're selling subscriptions or recurring revenue, and it not only is that helping them drive more business and drive a more consistent set of cash flow, it also brings a lot of complications with revenue recognition and billing and other things like that. And because NetSuite runs businesses that have sort of every type of business model in the world, no matter what our customers want to do today, we have a solution that's going to be able to support them in the way that they want to operate. And also, we've certainly seen in supply chain companies over recent years an evolution in companies moving from vertically oriented manufacturers to really focusing on where they add value. And they might move into more of a distribution focus, or they might move into more of an offshore focus. So this ability for for NetSuite to be able to support businesses no matter how they want to run today, how they want to run tomorrow is key. And I think it's even more key today in the world that we operate in. So let's look at that. Let's look at today's challenges. So, I mean, this is a bit misleading on the way the world was before, and saying predictable supply chains. Anyone in the supply chain world knows that there's a lot of unpredictability. But certainly a year ago, it was more predictable than it is today. And the things that people were focused on then were really value. So, I mean, there's been a focus in manufacturing over years, and really focusing on where value is and concentrating on that, and outsourcing anything that doesn't add value to the process, sort of trying to eliminate it. And we've seen companies continue to do that with continuous improvement and this focus on lean and this focus on value. Massive automation, and that's automating business processes, collapsing the value chain, so connecting sales through to order processing, through to execution, through to shipping, and really ensuring automation through that process as far as business process is concerned, but also automation in the shop floor, using more connected machines and other things, etc., to drive automation. We've seen issues with skills, and this is something that's been building over many years, and is an issue in many parts of the world, is getting people the right skills within your organizations. And we've certainly seen over the last few years, probably not right at this moment, but certainly over the last 5 10 years, we've seen unemployment, certainly in the United States, sort of veer towards theoretical zero. So it's been very difficult to get people with the not just to employ people, but people with the right skills. So skills and the focus on people has been a key thing within manufacturing. We've seen the emergence of more tariff issues coming up, which disrupts where you can supply, your costs, etc., and that's changing all the time. So people were dealing with a number of issues around that. International, and that's international, not only growing your business internationally as the world gets smaller, but also using capacity internationally, and the overhead that comes with managing the compliance infrastructure that sits behind that, and also the collaboration when it comes to language, time zone, that type of thing. Growth. We've seen a lot of growth in many businesses, and every company wants to grow. And growing a company where you have your arms around everything that you're doing, certainly as a manager or as an operations person, to a much larger organization is very difficult. So moving from a process where one person does 10 different jobs to where one job is done by 10 different people, it brings a lot of complexity that companies need to accommodate. Costs, the perennial issue, cost of raw material, cost of labor, all those different types of things, which are impacted by some of the things we just talked about. And one of the things I said up front, business models. So these evolving business models, subscription models, recurring models that are far more complex, not just to bill the customer so the customer understands what they're buying and the value they're receiving, but also the way that we recognize revenue. And then recently we've seen, the whole world sort of blew up in a whole set of new challenges. So all the existing challenges are still there. We still see issues with skills and shortages in key industries, but we've seen other things. We've seen really disrupted supply chains. So supply chains where we may be getting materials from China or using capacity in China or other parts of Asia where that has been blocked, and we've had to nearshore now rather than offshore in order to get these important materials, which changes cost models, changes supply models, that are capacity issues with that. We've seen erratic demand. So where we might have known, okay, this is what's going to happen over the next 12 months, we've seen demand change substantially. Some people have seen it drop off to an incredible extent. Others have seen capacity or demand skyrocket as the key things that they're making are important today. So this erratic supply and demand is very difficult, obviously, for businesses to operate effectively around. And then what we have seen certainly in manufacturers, and this has been trending for quite some time, is manufacturers getting closer to the end customer, whether it just be in marketing and sales, but also selling to the end customer. And we've seen on our commerce side that where a lot of manufacturers had a real focus around B2B. Some of them having to switch to B2C, business to consumer, in order to thrive or order to satisfy demand. And then obviously remote working. Everyone's seen the complication with remote working and really the resilience of business systems to support companies. A lot of that has been shown up in the last, in the last few months, where someone can't go into the office, or it's difficult to go in the office and reset something, or there's a mishmash of cloud solutions and on-premise solutions that make it difficult to do. And we've actually seen it in NetSuite, a real increase in demand for our solutions as companies try and build the resilience into their infrastructure to handle this these many changes. So, how is NetSuite helping companies meet those challenges? Well, these are really the key pillars behind NetSuite, and each one of these sort of defines how NetSuite goes about helping companies meet those challenges of today, yesterday, and more importantly, tomorrow. So we've talked about some of these things. So the unified cloud platform. So everything is on a true cloud platform. So when we talk about supporting remote workers, supporting doing business anywhere, supporting doing business around the world, a lot of that is driven from this unified cloud platform. And this cloud platform is up 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, in order for people to communicate with it, in order for supply chain partners to communicate with it, etc. So having a platform like that is key. And managing the type of ways that companies are having to work today, that this remote type of working, is in the DNA of NetSuite. It's how we operate. We're not trying to get there. We have always been there and offered that to our businesses. I mentioned this up front. NetSuite was always built to run a business. It wasn't a financial system or an HCM system or a warehouse system. It was built to run a business, to run the financial side, the operational side, the sales side, to have that entire suite working together to drive benefit for its customers. More importantly, and one of the other important areas I should say is the unified data model. So our customers can analyze data, whether they want to see orders that are coming through on the website and how that's impacting inventory and how that impacts all the way into invoicing. They can analyze, report on that seamlessly. And I said up front, every single NetSuite customer is always on the same release of the product, and they're always seamlessly upgraded to that release. One of the other big areas in cloud solutions, and a lot of cloud solutions don't do a great job of this, is really the flexibility. So historically, some companies have never moved to the cloud and they've kept on-premise solutions because they think they need that for the flexibility to customize and personalize because they have unique business requirements. And there are a lot of unique business requirements that people need to utilize. And certainly today, when companies to operate at the speed of the way in which business is changing, flexibility is key. I gave a presentation down in Australia earlier this year, just as COVID started to hit. And there was a company in Australia, that a NetSuite customer, who their product was fully sourced and manufactured in Australia. And when the supply chains were disrupted to China, all of a sudden, they had a lot of other companies started putting demand on them because they couldn't get their product from China. Because of the Suite Cloud platform, this company was able, through the visual workflows, to go and put rules in to make sure that they were not letting demand going to all the brand new customers. They were supporting with a high level of customer satisfaction their existing loyal customers to make sure that they still service them. So they were able to build those rules into the product immediately as they needed them, without writing any code, and again, without being version locked or anything like that. So NetSuite has a full platform that allows people to personalize, customize, all the way through to heavy-duty development and building applications on top of the NetSuite platform. So, and it gives our customers the flexibility they need in order to be able to operate and grow. And then when we look at the suite, NetSuite isn't just financials, it's not just inventory, it's just not production, it's just not projects. It is everything that a company needs to run. So ERP, the financials, billing, RevRec, supply chain, professional services automation, complete omni-channel commerce, HCM, CRM, and a complete built for NetSuite network of partners. And I'll talk about that at the moment, how important that is for our customers. then that is completely global. So no matter what happens to your company, if all of a sudden you need to start you need to open a facility in Mexico, you need to start doing business in Eastern Europe, you need to start doing business in New Zealand, you can do that without needing to worry about, is your business system going to be able to invoice, tax report? Is someone going to be able to access it there? Can you switch that on as and when you want? Then our industries, and I talked through the complete range of industries that we support, which is vital for companies today because we see this constant evolution of business models that are currently taking place. And then one of our big pillars is intelligence. NetSuite has always been a believer in business intelligence, and intelligence in general is available to everyone. It's never been seen as a separate module or anything like that. So right from day one, business intelligence was available to everywhere in the context that they needed it and in the role they were within the organization. And as we've evolved that to more and more sophisticated analytics, we're doing the same with our machine learning and artificial intelligence technology, that it's there in order to make the product more responsive and automate processes more effectively. So just a couple of things in a bit more detail about the cloud and how it supports businesses. And I'll just let this build. The scale of the cloud is staggering, and a lot of companies have peaks and troughs of where they need capacity, and the cloud is very good at that. But one of the things that also the cloud is good at, and NetSuite especially is good at, is managing customers through any part of their life cycle. So if they start as a emerging business with a few $1 million of revenue, all the way through to multi-billion-dollar global organizations, NetSuite manages that process quickly and easily. If we think about NetSuite as a company itself, NetSuite runs on NetSuite. NetSuite started off when the company first founded and the product didn't exist, and Evan Goldberg, the founder and still the GM in charge of NetSuite, was developing the product. They ran on QuickBooks. And then as soon as the first version was available, they were company number one. They migrated onto QuickBooks, and it's still that same instance today that is supporting the 10,000 employee company, globally around the world, multi-billion-dollar business. And we have many, many customers that have done the same. But sometimes customers break up. They break up to lots of different businesses, or lots of businesses acquired. So no matter what evolution your company goes through, NetSuite is able to support that, from the smallest business to some of the largest businesses with incredible scale. And one of the things that sits behind this is when we look at NetSuite's machine learning and AI technologies, there are many business patterns for NetSuite to learn. So your companies will be able to leverage off 20 years of tens of thousands of customers using the product on what is the best way in which you should use the product. And I'll talk a bit more about that later. Again, NetSuite has multiple data centers around the world. We continue to evolution. Not only do we develop the product and come out with more features, etc., we continue to update the technology. So our customers, without even knowing it, are always on the latest technology. And we're going through a process now of moving to the latest cloud infrastructure technology with Oracle that we're making available to all of our customers around the world, again, without them even knowing it. And again, that's an advantage of the cloud. You never need to worry about being on outdated technology or technology that's not going to support the growth and scale of your business. When on platform, as I said, just a few more things on platform. Platform supports every type of person and how they want to operate, from end users who want to personalize their environment to the business analyst that wants to customize and build business rules without coding. So being able to do that quickly and easily, to the full-scale developer who wants to use large-scale development tools for developing, very sophisticated solutions. The administrator that needs to manage compliance and GRC and users and roles and security, as well as the CIO, and a very vibrant partner channel. And because NetSuite only has one version of the product to worry about, then we have a vibrant partner ecosystem. So one of the things about NetSuite, if you needed a piece of unique functionality, or say you had a product that you wanted to integrate with that you had already spent a lot of money on and invested in, then almost certainly in the NetSuite ecosystem, there's a plug and play solution that will manage your requirement. So this the again, the platform and the way that NetSuite does business is very good for our partners and our customers. And it's great for our partners because they only have one version of the product ever to worry about. And it's great for our customers because they never need to worry about that they're on the wrong version for the latest partner system, etc. Everything's automatically kept up to date. I'm not going to go through in detail feature by feature, but NetSuite is a full suite. So again, for modern businesses that need that want to collapse that value chain, so that from order capture all the way through to cash and post-sale service, they can do that within one solution. Excuse me, NetSuite offers all of that, from a complete set of financial features, from core accounting features to advanced financial planning and budgeting features, sophisticated billing and revenue recognition, and then all features to manage a global business. And then operationally side, all sophisticated order management, procurement, inventory, production for manufacturers, anything from product data management, planning and scheduling, all the way through to quality and manufacturing execution. Sophisticated project management capabilities for people that work on large-scale projects that might include material and labor, and then a complete set of advanced supply chain management solutions for collaboration, execution across the supply chain, etc. And then rich features that generally people would go to a third party for are all part of the NetSuite suite, all built on that unified platform. CRM, human capital management, including HR and payroll, WMS, commerce, B2B, B2C, point of sale, and a complete analytics suite in the platform, as I talked about. So one of the things about NetSuite in helping solve the requirements of manufacturing businesses is this level of sophistication. Global, I'm not going to dwell too much on this. I've talked about this before, but NetSuite is used across the globe. There are actually probably 80,000 to 100,000 separate companies that are operating NetSuite. That's different to customers. So a customer would be one billing customer. They may have 20 subsidiaries, separate businesses that are operating NetSuite all within that one environment. Matter of fact, our largest customer is running 153. The product in 153 countries, the same instance of the solution. Okay, the other area with cloud, and I talked about this up front, is when I talked about the consumerization of the product, the ability for people to be able to take the product and use it in their own stride or in their own timing is a key philosophy of NetSuite. And we sort of call this philosophy Suite Success. And Suite Success is the way that we build, deploy, maintain our product, this whole motion of Suite Success. And what Suite Success is building all the capabilities you need for any type of business. And then we have an engagement model that allows you to understand how this product is going to run your business. And we do this by providing a whole set of leading practices built on years and years of knowledge of how customers in your industry and of your size use the product. And then we have a consumption model that allows you to consume the product as and when and how you want. So rather than having to implement everything, you could say, I just want to implement financials and basic manufacturing, then I'm going to move on to more advanced planning, then I'm going to move on to business commerce, etc. You're able to consume the product as and when you want. And then behind that, as the product is updated twice a year with new releases that everyone's moved up to, there's an optimization feature in there that allows you to consume those new features as they come through in order to run your businesses more effectively. So again, leading practices for everything. This is just a very high level example of sales order fulfillment in the distribution side of the product. This is a very summarized version of the NetSuite Stairway. So just an example of how a customer could determine which parts of the product that they want to consume and at what rate. And this is where NetSuite has got incredible success in people going from zero, not using NetSuite at all, to live in well under 100 days. And it's this combination of leading practices, this engagement model, and also this consumption stairway that allows companies to get live and to be able to add more sophisticated functionality as they need in order to support their business. Now, I'm going to talk about a number of areas that we've been working on more recently in the cloud to support manufacturing businesses specifically. So we have a big focus around intelligence, and I talked about that. And NetSuite has got a lot of all the features that a traditional business intelligence system would want. The whole descriptive and diagnostic analytics. So the descriptive is here's a set of out-of-the-box KPIs. So with NetSuite, if you're a manufacturer of a particular type, in day one you'll get all the roles that are required for that type of company. You'll get all the reports, you'll get all the KPIs, you'll get all the analytics that are needed. That's an example of descriptive analytics. And then we have a diagnostic analytics model that you can go and write your own reports or pivots or whatever you want in order to try and solve problems within the solution. But more recently, we've introduced predictive analytics and prescriptive analytics as part of the intelligence suite. So they're predictive in pushing information to you. So for manufacturers in particular, our supply chain control tower looks for predicted risks or risks involved with purchase orders, sales orders potentially being late, transfers being late, etc., based on patterns and learning how things have been done in the past. And then it has a prescriptive side that says, this is how I think you should solve that problem by going and doing an X. And we're learning that based on thousands and thousands of customers and business patterns, again, to provide what you need in order to operate more effectively. And that's all part of the solution that we deliver. So a real focus around using intelligence for automation. The other area, and I'll let this build, is we have a massive focus around experience. And that's just not pretty pictures and colors when you're going into the UI, but really making sure that when a user of a particular role logs into the system, the product looks as though it's been completely defined for them. So if you're a warehouse operator, you think the product is completely designed for you. And if you're a controller, designed for you. And if you're an operations planner, designed for you. So this whole area of the human is the hero and how they're interacting with the product. And really making sure every part of the experience is optimized for that particular role. We have a real focus around that. And again, this comes back to the whole consumerization of the application. Another area which is very relevant to businesses today with the uncertainty of businesses. Most ERP systems have MRP engines or demand planning engines. They might have a separate HR function. Might have a CRM system. They might be using another CRM system. And sometimes people even have a strategic planning system. NetSuite has all of this together. So NetSuite has a complete unified planning system where you can plan strategically all the way down and seamlessly flow all the way down through to tactical planning. So we think in supply chain companies, strategically looking at the overall business plan, getting feed from sales, costs, actuals, headcount, HR, etc., seeing issues, flexing the plan, changing the plan, that flowing down to the demand planning system, to the supply planning system, that it's automatically reacting, all the way down to the uber tactical planning, the allocation and fulfillment engine. So this unified planning solution allows NetSuite customers to be able to react to anything that the world is throwing them at this stage and to be able to make the right decisions more quickly. One of the other areas we did is, and this is an evolution of functionality, is we've always had a planning engine. So you have supply and demand, the engine runs and it says what you should do, what you should make, what you should change, etc. Again, for the real world, we've recently re-architected all of this so it's real time. So that your MRP engine can be taking live feed of what's happening. You can change models, etc., and you can get the results out immediately on what you need to do. You don't have to wait for hours or overnight to see what happens. In this world, you need to react quickly. And again, this is enabled by the power of the cloud and that sort of elastic technology that's out there, and also in NetSuite building what is traditional type of functionality, but building it in a brand new way that supports the way that modern businesses need to work. And then finally, just leveraging what I said before, is this utilizing machine learning and AI and technology to make better decisions that are going to drive profitability, drive high customer sat, etc. So, for example, right down at that real tactical level, I need 20 of a product to satisfy a customer's demand. Well, I can find 10 available in stock. I can find that there are 4 in this other location that I can go and utilize. I can see that there's a work order that's going to be completed soon that I can get some from, but I still have a balance. I can intelligently go through and I can reallocate an existing sales order because I know I can get that material for them that will still meet their customer sat agreement, and I can allocate those 3 here. So this whole learning and automated transaction that would take hours to go and do and may make the wrong decision, NetSuite utilizing advanced technologies to make sure you're optimizing at every moment, every second, your inventory in order to drive great profitability, high customer satisfaction, repeat business, that type of thing. So that's just an example of 4 of the things that we've got real focus around today that, again, are going to help not only manufacturers today, but help them tomorrow thrive, not only survive, but thrive. So this is the NetSuite. This is the NetSuite value proposition. This is the way that NetSuite provides benefits and differentiation for our customers, specifically in the manufacturing and the supply chain world. So with that, I'd like to hand over to Gavin, who's going to speak to Naomi about some real examples on how they use the product in order to in order to be a successful business. Gavin?
Great, thanks, Paul. Hi, Naomi, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fantastic, yep. So thanks for joining us today. And maybe just at the start, you could just give us some background about yourself and your company, Arcosa Materials.
Well, I'm Naomi Jenkins. I live here in Oklahoma, specifically Norman, Oklahoma. I've worked with NetSuite for the past almost 2 years. And how I even got started with NetSuite is a company here in Oklahoma was looking for a NetSuite, well, actually a business analyst to document accounting processes in NetSuite for the company. And within 2 days of me starting the position, I turned into a junior administrator, which means I had to learn everything about NetSuite. And now here I am. I am an administrator of NetSuite for Arcosa Materials. Arcosa Materials is based in Dallas, Texas, and we are a spinoff of Trinity Industries. We're in construction, and we have lots of sites that are all over the world. So we utilize One World NetSuite.
Oklahoma. I'm pretty sure I stayed in Oklahoma at like an old haunted hotel right downtown. Is that?
The Skirving Hotel.
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah. There you go. I was at an event there a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, it was very cool. So why did your company choose NetSuite? What were you looking for at the time, and what were the key factors?
Well, number one thing that my company was looking for was just the functionality of NetSuite. Being able to integrate our different systems. We have truck scales at our different locations. Being able to talk to our different locations and it be in real time. So for instance, our headquarters was Norman, Oklahoma, but we had a site in Moreland, Oklahoma, and the capability of being able to see exactly what's going on in Moreland in real time and not have to wait till the end of the night to integrate our systems was a powerful tool, and that was a major reason why we looked for NetSuite.
So what do you think the cloud specifically does for your company?
Number one, it gives us capability to work from anywhere, especially in these times. We're able to still get our jobs done regardless of us sitting in an office or being at home in quarantine. We can still keep our company running and keep it going. That's number one for the cloud.
So being a NetSuite admin, I'm sure you have lots of favorite features. So what are some of your favorite things to use in the system?
Well, one of my number one favorite things to use is my dashboard and put KPIs and scorecards and trend graphs and put that together for my plant managers so they can see at all times how their plant is doing. whether they've produced this amount of tons versus how much they have shipped. And then where is their inventory looking? And the capabilities of seeing all of that data right there on their dashboard is my favorite thing overall. To see the smiles on their faces, like, wow, I don't have to search for this anymore. It's right here. I can actually do my job right on my dashboard. That's what I love.
So you're creating your own saved searches and creating KPIs and that sort of thing.
Yes, and I am really excited to work with analytics because we are trying to figure out a way to do combo graphs, and I hear that analytics is going to let us do that. So I am so excited to include that in my company.
I'm sure there's a safe harbor statement somewhere there, but yeah, that's I think that's probably on the horizon.
Yeah.
And Paul mentioned the no-code customization. I'm sure you guys have added custom fields and things to track, information that's relevant to your business, right? But it wouldn't be in the normal system.
Yes, absolutely. We track like our tickets, our tonnage in the system. We integrate our truck tickets, so a truck can come in with a load. We have our scales, and it's integrated straight into NetSuite, so we don't have to wait for that system to update and then wait for us to do a integration at night. It is just perfect. So if something was to go down at our locations, we can see it right there in NetSuite too. See if our shipments are coming through, translating correctly through our integration.
So I'm sure the COVID pandemic has affected your business as just like everyone else. So how's that gone? How have you reacted, and has NetSuite helped with that at all, you think?
NetSuite has definitely helped. It has shown us exactly where our business is, so we can see live if we are producing our tonnage. We mine rock. So if we're mining rock, if we are producing all this rock, and if it's being shipped and if it's being sold, so we're able to see and make a plan immediately for things that we can't foresee. We did not foresee all the closing of our mines and having to work with quarantine and just basically lockdown. So how we've basically made it work for us is just the capability of the cloud, being able to work from not your location.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, one of my favorite NetSuite taglines back in the day was "One system, no limits," which of course we had to change because we realized that everybody has some other system they had to integrate with. You already talked about scales and stuff. So, what other integrations have you done, and how's that worked out for you?
Well, we have a tax integration, and it's actually been phenomenal. It's our sales tax, and we actually have not had an issue, and that's actually kind of different. As an administrator, most people can feel my pain on the tax integrations. Usually they're like failing or something's wrong with the sales order. But in the instance, if something was wrong with the sales order, we get an immediate email so we can go fix it immediately, and it doesn't go hanging in the wind for months. It gets done immediately. So I just love it. I love my tax integration.
So it's good. So looking forward, then, are there any what are your big initiatives, or are there other things that you're planning and working on over the next year or so that you're excited to add into the system?
Yes, we're implementing NetSuite throughout our whole entire company. So it's going to go from a small subsidiary to everyone. So bringing our legacy system, which is Oracle EBS, into NetSuite, and just working with the NetSuite team for the implementation is great. So we are going to be able to show some legacy systems how NetSuite is so effective for our business and how it's great and how we can go from 0 to 100 just by switching to NetSuite, seeing so much more.
So you've developed some core business practices then that you're rolling out to the other parts of the business, essentially.
Yes. How to approve purchase orders that's customized to us, and our work orders, our use tax, how we're going to track our use tax, that's going to be customized to us. We have in rock, this is interesting. So some of the rock we mine is food grade, which goes in some of our beverages. So we have to have a certain workflow because we have to have certain agreements in place with our customers before we send them products, and being able to create that workflow has been, that's really cool for me. I am an accountant. I'm not a developer, so actually coming up with a workflow has been seamless and not so complicated as you would think it would be.
Right. And when you use the word customization, sometimes that's a dirty word in some systems, but with NetSuite, we upgrade twice a year, and all those customizations just are upgraded automatically.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Great. Well, thanks for your time today, and I think we'll pass it back to Paul for a summary.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Paul. I'm so sorry to stop you, but I think you've yet to hit your unmute button. You're still on mute there, Paul.
Yeah, I think that's me off now.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I was saying that we need to get some machine learning or AI in it. So Microsoft Teams is a bit clever in switching over. But as I was saying, we should NetSuite-ize it. So anyway, thanks, Naomi and Gavin. That was excellent. Giving us an insight into your business and how you're using NetSuite, and I think we've given you, hopefully, given you an idea of some of the issues that we see that manufacturing businesses are dealing with at this moment in time, and how the cloud and specifically NetSuite is going to help companies react and behave today and be able to, survive and thrive. Certainly, our big focus is around delivering an autonomous supply chain. So any NetSuite customer is the best entity, the best node in a supply chain. And NetSuite itself is autonomous, self-healing, managing, collaborative with everything that you're working with. So you'll be able to plan, execute, collaborate, adapt, improve, succeed with your business. So with that, Paul, I'll hand it back to you and see if there are any questions for us.
Thank you, Paul, and a big thanks to obviously yourself, Gavin, and Naomi for a really, really comprehensive presentation. And I think you've really brought to the forefront some tremendous thoughts and ideas around the benefits of so many aspects of cloud delivery, and specifically, obviously, the NetSuite platform through scalability and flexibility, and your building philosophies around adoption. So I would at this point, of course, encourage any of our viewers to submit any questions that you have via the QA button. I have received a couple, so I'm going to jump in. I'm going to fire them at the team. Question one, I'm going to ask to you, Paul. Over the last couple of weeks, we've spoken a lot about data, harnessing the big data. So my question really is about IoT, and where does IoT fit into the NetSuite solution?
Yeah, so I mentioned it very briefly, but I think IoT is one of these technology that's been on the cusp for quite some time, and I think the industries that have always used it still using it and getting even more out of it: plastic injection molding, food production, that type of area. But so NetSuite sees it as very important, and there are a number of elements to IoT. Our number one priority has been, in order to support IoT, is to make sure NetSuite is flexible enough in order to be able to interact with any device that's out there, so that it can push information out, it can receive messages in, and it can take the appropriate action to automate transactions. We have a number of customers that are using NetSuite to do that today. So that's the first component. That's really part of the platform side, this ability to be able to react to signals from anything, not just from people, but from devices, etc. Our other area, the other area of investment is Oracle is making a huge investment in IoT platform. And they sort of look at it as the connected worker. So that is, if you have employees that you need to monitor where they are because they're in hazardous areas, etc. so the connected worker piece, and then there's the asset management piece. So if you're making products that you're shipping out that you want to listen to for maintenance or for other areas, that's another component of it. And then there's the industrial IoT piece, the real-time machine communication with machines and other devices on the shop floor. So Oracle is developing incredible technology around that, and we're working with them so that our customers, not only with NetSuite, can interact with maybe any traditional devices that they have maybe out in the floor, but they can switch on the Oracle IoT platform, which can then automatically connect to devices that they may have not before. So one of the things that comes with that platform is this ability to make sense of millions of transactions that get captured a second or an hour, etc., to then determine what's important to come back to NetSuite. Key quality information, key production information, etc. So we definitely see IoT as something that's going to add a lot of benefits to customers within manufacturing. But across those three spheres, the employees, the assets, as well as industrial IoT, and we're investing in each element of that. So you'll see a lot more from NetSuite, I think, over the couple of years and over the next couple of years. And I definitely hope that it's being a technologist, I definitely hope it's a technology that starts to gain a lot more traction. Everyone wants it, but it tends to be the traditional industries that have had the success. We really want to drive that out to a lot more industries that are out there.
Super, thank you very much for that. I think we've got time for another question here, and in the spirit of pivoting, also not pivoting, but maintaining our focus on manufacturing, but also really as an addition to some of the comments you made earlier around, how organizations and manufacturers have had to pivot and adjust and move from, B to B to B to C, or even change their manufacturing mode in some ways. One of our viewers did notice that NetSuite has got contract manufacturing, and maybe Gavin, can you expand a little bit on what this offers?
Sure. So this is kind of interesting. Paul mentioned before leading practices, where we develop all these baseline business flows and processes, and this feature actually evolved out of that process. So over the years, our services consultants had designed some automated processes in the system to go and handle how you would work with your contract manufacturers better. And we ended up building that into the core product, and that's now available free to all users. So essentially, what it does is it refines that link between your purchase order and your work order, and you can go and create locations for your contract manufacturers. A lot of our customers won't position inventory with their CMs, either for cost control reasons, or in some cases, it could be a proprietary piece of technology that they don't want them sourcing, for example. And so it goes and creates the work order, and there's options as to how you go and backflush the materials, so you have a more accurate picture of what inventory your CM may have on hand at any given time.
Excellent, thank you. I got time for one more. We got time for one more. I've got a question here. Of course, there's always time for one more. And I have to say that although this may sound like to the people from the outside like it's a webinar brought to you by the Scottish Board of Tourism, this is something that just happened. No, I have a question here about engineering changes, change control, drawings. Maybe Paul, can you talk a little bit about how that's managed within NetSuite?
Yeah, so NetSuite is a sort of full PDM set of capabilities. So the fact that it's all browser-based, it's all in the cloud, it's great for collaborating around bills of materials. So NetSuite has a complete engineering database, both work processes with routings, as well as bills of material with multiple revisions. And it is got quite a sophisticated engineering solution that allows you to, on the same product, to manufacture it in multiple ways, to have different revisions and products tied to customers and other things. So it's a very rich engineering system that handle almost any type of product. At the same time, we have a whole solution to handle unstructured data as well. So things like drawing or documents or other things with full revision control and collaboration. That's again all part of the PDM system, and with a full change control system. So the very fact that NetSuite is cloud-based, that it is and it has a PDM system, it offers an awful lot of flexibility for customers, certainly that do collaborative engineering. We also have plugins to many PLM systems that are out there as well. If companies have an existing PLM solution that they want to leverage, where NetSuite will then just capture those bills of material and revisions and routines, etc., to then drive production.
Thank you. Well, I'm very conscious of the fact that we've hit nearly the top of the hour. I want to extend again a huge thanks to Paul and to Gavin and to Naomi for a really excellent session today, and to everybody else for joining us. We hope you'll join us for the final webinar in this series on the power of modern ERP for manufacturers next Thursday at 2 p.m. And of course, you're more than welcome to go back and access the on-demand versions of this and our first 2 webinars in the series. As a reminder, any participant who attends 3 or more of these webinars will be invited for a free 2-hour consultation with us here at TEC to discuss any issue related to enterprise software. And of course, you are more than welcome. You have a 1-hour consultation, I should say, with each of the vendors whose webinars you attend. And I'm sure there are many more questions that have come out of this session too. So with that, I will extend my thanks once again to our panel, and thanks to everybody else for joining us. And I will leave you with a sentiment that I hope everyone stays well. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Paul.